You're a seasoned top-tier professional.
Right.
But right now, in this moment, you are lying flat on your back on a picnic table in your backyard in Princeton, New Jersey.
Oh, wow. Just lying there.
Just lying there. You are staring up into the branches of an ash tree. And you are completely, utterly paralyzed by panic.
The visual of that is just so striking. I mean, a professional at the absolute top of his game experiencing, like, total immobilization.
And he didn't just stay there for an afternoon, you know. This is the legendary writer, John McPhee.
Oh, right.
And he stayed on that picnic table just looking at the sky for 2 full weeks.
2 weeks. That's insane.
Literally 14 days. He was trying to figure out how to write this massive piece about the Pine Barrens of New Jersey.
Ah, yeah, that's a famous one.
Yeah, and he had spent 8 entire months doing research, right? He gathered what he called enough material to fill a silo.
Which is incredibly overwhelming.
And then his brain just stopped. It just hit a wall. But the wildest part is what happens next.
He finally gets off the table?
He gets up, he rents this tiny little office above an optometrist's shop, and over the next year, he writes the piece.
And it becomes a 30,000-word masterpiece.
Exactly. It is still considered a marvel of long-form reporting even today.
It really is.
So my mission for you today, you listening to this while you're commuting or, you know, maybe you're trying to clear out a dozen urgent emails while we talk.
Which you probably are.
Right. My mission is to rescue you from the exhaustion and burnout of modern work.
That is a big promise.
We are going to fundamentally redefine what it actually means to get things done. We are taking a deep dive into Cal Newport's book, Slow-Productivity, The Lost Art of Accomplishment Without Burnout.
It's such a crucial topic right now.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because how on earth does lying on a picnic table for 2 weeks result in a masterpiece?
Right.
Like if you or I did that today, our manager would call a wellness check and then immediately fire us.
Oh, totally. I mean, it feels entirely alien to our current definition of work, doesn't it?
Completely alien.
But that story sets the stage perfectly, because it is the ultimate counter-narrative to our frantic modern culture.
The hustle culture, basically.
Exactly. We live in this era of Zoom fatigue and constant digital availability, which really hit a breaking point during the pandemic.
Oh, absolutely.
What McPhee was doing on that table wasn't laziness. He was engaging in a very specific, intense type of cognitive processing.
He was actually working.
Yes. He was giving his brain the unhurried time required to synthesize a massive amount of complex, unstructured information.
But to a modern observer, he just looks like a guy avoiding his job.
Exactly. But in reality, he was doing the heaviest lifting of his career.
It's wild because we look at McPhee and think, like, it must be nice to just stare at leaves.
Right. What a luxury.
Because for us today, a complete lack of visible, frantic activity feels like a cardinal sin. You saw this blow up recently, right? With the pandemic-era backlash against productivity.
Oh yeah, the Great Resignation.
The Great Resignation, the rise of quiet quitting, all of that. Working parents were suddenly trying to do their jobs from the kitchen table.
Toddlers screaming in the background. Yeah.
Exactly. And they had this collective realization that their employers often viewed their daily output as like nothing more than widgets produced on an assembly line.
Yeah, the pressure was just to keep the widget factory running, no matter the human cost.
Which is so bleak when you really think about it.
It is. But that backlash was just a symptom of a deeply broken framework in how we understand our own jobs.
How so?
Well, Newport highlights a fascinating survey he conducted with about 700 of his readers, and these are mostly knowledge workers.
Okay.
He asked them what seems like a really simple question. He asked, how would most people define productivity in your field?
You'd think professionals would have a one-sentence answer ready to go for that.
Right, but they couldn't provide one.
Wait, really none of them?
They literally could not articulate a concrete definition of what it meant to be productive. Instead, they just listed their daily tasks.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
So a pastor defined his productivity as producing sermons and visiting the flock.
Which is just a to-do list.
Exactly. A project manager said it was churning out lots of artifacts.
Artifacts. Wow.
Yeah. There was absolutely no mention of the quality of those artifacts or sermons or, any standard for what makes them actually effective.
It was just a raw list of actions.
Just actions. Tom Davenport, he's a prominent management professor, points out that we measure knowledge work in incredibly arbitrary ways.
Give me an example of that.
Well, in academia, for instance, institutions often just count the raw number of peer-reviewed papers a professor publishes.
Oh, I see. Just the volume.
Right. They do this completely regardless of whether those papers have any actual impact or quality.
Okay, it's like It's like you're running on a treadmill where the display screen is completely broken.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. You are sweating, your heart rate is through the roof, and you're just exhausted, but you have absolutely no idea if you've logged 1 mile or 10.
Yeah, you can't see the progress.
So you just keep pushing the speed up and running faster.
Yeah.
Because running fast feels like the thing you were supposed to be doing.
Because that's what work is supposed to look like.
Exactly. But if we don't even know what productivity actually is, how did we end up so completely obsessed with chasing it?
What's fascinating here is the historical gap between physical labor and cognitive labor.
Okay.
When the definition of what constitutes good work is vague, human beings naturally default to whatever simply looks like work.
The optical illusion of busyness.
Exactly. To understand why your treadmill display is broken, we have to look back at the historical systems that actually worked. And then we have to examine why they fail so spectacularly when applied to the human brain today.
Right, because the concept of productivity wasn't invented in an office cubicle, was it? It actually started in the dirt with agriculture.
Yep, agriculture.
Yeah.
Because in farming, productivity is incredibly straightforward to measure. It's just bushels per acre.
Super simple.
Very. If you want to be more productive, you have to find a scientific way to get more food out of the exact same plot of land.
And that singular metric led to some massive, tangible innovations.
Huge innovations. Take the Norfolk four-core system of planting in the 17th century.
Okay, what was that?
By rotating 4 different crops, wheat, turnips, barley, and clover farmers discovered they could naturally restore nitrogen to the soil.
Oh, right, because different crops do different things to the dirt.
Exactly. Turnips and clover actively replenish the nutrients that wheat and barley strip away.
So they didn't have to just leave the field empty anymore.
Right. It eliminated the historical need to leave fields fallow for a year. It was a clear, measurable process improvement driven by a very tangible metric.
And then the Industrial Revolution basically takes that exact same concept and brings it indoors.
Exactly the same concept.
Like, Henry Ford didn't care about bushels. He cared about automobiles produced per hour of paid labor.
Right. It's just a different widget.
So by shifting to a continuous motion assembly line in 1913, where the car moves to the worker instead of the worker moving to the car, he dropped the time it took to build a Model T from 12.5 hours down to about 1.5 hours.
Which is just staggering.
That is an undeniable metric of success.
And then Frederick Winslow Taylor took that mindset to its absolute extreme.
Oh, the efficiency guy.
Yeah, as a consultant at Bethlehem Steel in the early 20th century,
Yeah?
he didn't just yell at workers shoveling slag iron to work harder.
No, he measured everything.
He viewed them as mechanical components.
Yeah.
He measured their output precisely and actually engineered a brand new shovel.
Wait, he redesigned the shovel.
He did. He mathematically calculated that the optimal load to maximize the amount of iron moved in a day while preventing the worker from experiencing unproductive muscle fatigue was exactly 21 pounds.
21 pounds of iron per scoop. That is industrial engineering at its absolute finest.
It's brilliant for physical labor.
But then we fast forward to the mid-20th century and the knowledge sector just explodes.
And the rules completely change.
Right. Suddenly you have millions of people who aren't shoveling iron or building transmissions. They are writing reports, designing ad campaigns, managing teams.
You cannot optimize a human brain the way you optimize a shovel.
No, you really can't.
The legendary management theorist Peter Drucker recognized this collision immediately. He pointed out that knowledge workers must direct themselves.
Because the work is invisible.
Exactly. You cannot put a human brain on a continuous motion assembly line and expect to measure its output per hour in any meaningful way.
Right. In a factory, the physical system dictates the process. But in an office, the process happens entirely inside the worker's head.
You might be, conceptualizing a client report while simultaneously gathering testimonials for a website, organizing an office party, and trying to decipher a really confusing HR email.
All at the same time.
Yeah. There is no bushel per acre to track. And this created a massive crisis for management. Companies had absolutely no idea how to evaluate their employees.
So they fell back on a proxy.
They did. They decided, well, if I can physically see you at your desk, moving papers and typing, you must be working.
And this is the birth of what the book calls pseudo-productivity.
Yes. Pseudo-productivity is the use of visible activity as the primary means of approximating actual productive effort.
And managers leaned into that visible activity so hard. Like, let's look at 1995.
Oh, this story's amazing.
Right. So Leslie Moonves has just been appointed the head of entertainment for CBS.
And they are not doing well.
No, the network is struggling in third place in the ratings. So Moonves is wandering the halls of Television City in Los Angeles at 3:30 p.m. on a Friday.
Which is, Friday afternoon in Hollywood.
Exactly. And he sees that the executive office is three-quarters empty, and he just loses his mind.
Completely flips out.
He fires off this heated memo to his entire staff stating that ABC and NBC are still working at 3:30 on Friday, and an empty office will no longer be tolerated.
But wait, forcing your executives to sit at their desks until 7 p.m. on a Friday does not actually make a television network's programming any better.
It absolutely doesn't.
He was just pulling the only lever he had access to. He couldn't measure the invisible quality of thought happening in his building, so he demanded raw hours of visible physical presence.
Which raises an important question, though. Why did this mindset suddenly become so toxic in the 1990s?
Oh, that's a great question. When Moonves sent that memo, pseudo-productivity was on the verge of completely derailing the modern workforce. And it was all because of the arrival of network computers and email.
Ah, of course, because before email, looking busy meant you had to physically be in the building.
Exactly. It was annoying, sure, but you could eventually go home and escape it.
The physical office provided a boundary.
Right. But once email and eventually platforms like Slack arrived, looking busy shed its physical constraints.
It followed you home.
It did. It suddenly meant responding to digital messages constantly, from anywhere. One study highlighted by Newport showed knowledge workers checking their inboxes every 6 minutes.
Every 6 minutes? That's terrible.
It is. Technology supercharged pseudo-productivity. It meant you could perform your busyness from your living room at 10 p.m. or like from your kid's soccer game on a Saturday.
You're always on the clock.
Always. And it led straight into the modern burnout crisis because there was no longer any natural limit to how much activity you could visibly project.
But the irony is, demanding raw hours of desk sitting didn't move the needle for CBS at all.
Not even a little bit.
What actually saved the network was a process that looked completely invisible to a manager. It involves this guy named Anthony Zuiker.
Oh, Zuiker's story completely dismantles the logic of pseudo-productivity.
Okay, break it down for us.
So, the year after Moonves sends his furious memo, Zuiker is 26 years old. He is making $8 an hour driving a tourist tram between the Mirage and Treasure Island casinos in Las Vegas.
Driving a tram, not sitting in a Hollywood office?
Right. He feels like his life is going nowhere. But he has this raw talent for dialogue. So he writes a monologue for a friend, an agent hears it, and actually asks him for a screenplay.
And he doesn't even know how to write one, right?
No. Zuiker literally goes out and buys a how-to book on screenwriting. He writes a script about a gambling addict, and it catches the eye of Jerry Bruckheimer's production company.
Wow.
They call him in and ask if he has any ideas for television.
And he pitches a concept where investigators use high-tech forensic tools to solve crimes.
But he doesn't just sit at a desk to write it.
No, he spends months going on late-night ride-alongs with the Vegas police.
Yes, and there's this incredible detail in the source material where he's literally on his hands and knees combing a bedroom carpet for forensic clues alongside the cops.
Wait, actually at a real crime scene?
A real crime scene.
Huh.
And a suspect who is hiding under the bed swipes at his face with her nails.
That is terrifying.
He realizes right then, in that moment, that the concept is a hit. It's visceral.
But notice the timeline here. It takes him over 3 years of obsessive, unstructured development.
3 years.
He pitches it to ABC by physically jumping around the room on the furniture, and they pass.
Because of course they do.
Right. He rewrites the script 3 separate times for a CBS executive. Moonves initially tables it. It takes a letter from a famous director to convince Moonves to finally agree to a pilot.
And even then, the pilot comes in late and it's a total mess. They have to rush into the editing room to fix it.
Right. Finally, in a last-minute scheduling meeting, Moonves has one single open time slot left on Friday nights.
The infamous Friday night slot.
He has to choose between Zuiker's weird, dark forensic show and a traditional Tony Danza comedy. He goes with his gut and chooses Zuiker.
And that show is CSI.
Yep. It pairs with Survivor, and it rockets CBS to the #1 network on television.
It's incredible. Zuiker didn't sit in a cubicle from 9 to 5, proving he was busy. He spent 3 years wandering, riding a tram, getting scratched by suspects under beds.
His process points to a kind of magic that only becomes apparent when you zoom out.
Exactly. If you tracked his daily metrics, his visible activity often looked like zero. But at the scale of years, his productivity was undeniable. I mean, he birthed a billion-dollar franchise.
It is a pace of work that relies on deep focus rather than frantic motion.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The sources make this amazing pivot from Las Vegas crime scenes to Italian food.
I love this pivot.
Specifically, Carlo Petrini and the slow food movement. Because in 1986, McDonald's announces they are opening a massive 450-seat restaurant right at the Piazza di Spagna in Rome.
And the Italians are absolutely horrified.
Oh, completely. A famous fashion designer complains the smell of fast food hamburgers is going to ruin his couture clothing.
That is so Italian.
Right. The mayor of Rome literally forms a special garbage squad just to hunt down hamburger wrappers in the historic square.
But Petrini, who's an activist, he realizes that simply protesting the fast food machine isn't going to fix anything.
You can't just fight it.
Right. Petrini understood that to change culture, you can't just be angry. You have to offer a highly appealing alternative. And that alternative needs to draw from time-tested traditions.
So what did he do?
Instead of just organizing protests, he launched slow food. He promoted long, communal meals made from local, seasonal ingredients like the native Vesuvian apricot.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Doesn't it? He championed the culinary traditions that had survived the rigorous trial and error of generations. He argued that the sensory experience of a carefully crafted meal was inherently superior to a sterile, mass-produced burger.
And the movement exploded globally, right? It spread to like 160 countries.
It really did.
So you have Anthony Zuiker taking 3 meandering years to craft CSI, and you have Carlo Petrini offering traditional slow meals as the antidote to fast food.
And these two concepts merge into the blueprint for fixing our jobs.
Exactly. The antidote to the McDonald's of like the endless drive-through of email, Slack, and Zoom isn't just complaining to your coworkers about it.
No, it's finding a gourmet, traditional alternative for how we use our brains.
Because the slow food movement birthed an entire revolution, didn't it?
Oh yeah. It led to slow cities, which redesigns urban spaces for pedestrians rather than cars. Slow medicine, which focuses on holistic, preventative patient care rather than just, treating immediate symptoms.
And now, slow productivity.
Exactly. John McPhee staring at the sky on his picnic table, Anthony Zuiker obsessing over script revisions for years, Isaac Newton taking 2 decades to write the Principia. These are our time-tested traditions for knowledge work.
They prove that human cognition requires an unhurried, deliberate pace to produce anything of lasting value.
Yes.
I love the philosophy. But we need to translate this into reality for you, the listener.
Right. How do we actually do this?
We established 3 core principles for slow productivity. 1, do fewer things. 2, work at a natural pace. And 3, obsess over quality. Let's look at the first one. Do fewer things.
There is a persistent historical myth about Jane Austen that perfectly illustrates how we get this wrong.
Oh, the myth of the creaky door.
Yes. Decades after she died, her nephew started a rumor that Austen wrote her masterpieces in secret.
Which is just wild.
The story claims she sat in the busy family sitting room, happily doing domestic chores, and whenever the swing door to the room creaked, she would quickly hide her writing under a piece of blotting paper so no one would know she was working.
It paints this incredibly toxic picture of a genius multitasking her way to literary greatness, just between doing the laundry and serving tea.
It completely validates the modern hustle culture.
It really does. Like, look, Jane Austen wrote Emma while doing dishes, so you can answer these 50 emails.
But the historical reality is completely different.
Yeah.
Jane Austen did not write Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, and Emma in a continuous distracted blur of multitasking.
No, she didn't.
Her phenomenal 5-year streak of publishing only happened after a major structural life change.
In 1796.
Right. Her father decided to close the boys' boarding school that he ran out of their house.
Which instantly removed a crushing domestic burden from her shoulders. She didn't have to plan meals for rowdy students, manage their laundry, or clean up after them.
The cognitive load of that domestic management just vanished.
She went from being completely overwhelmed with daily tasks to actually having dedicated, protected time. She could take her drafts upstairs, work at her own desk, and read her work aloud to her family in peace.
By radically reducing the sheer volume of things she was responsible for, she found the cognitive space to produce historical masterpieces.
But I have to push back on behalf of you, the listener.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's really easy to say, do fewer things when your father closes his boarding school. Or when you're John McPhee with a publishing contract and an ash tree.
Fair point.
What about you? You are listening to this on your way to an office. You have a boss, you have quarterly KPIs, and you have a barrage of emails that demand answers by Friday. Isn't this philosophy of do fewer things just a luxury for the historically privileged?
I get that.
Yeah.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, the goal isn't to literally replicate the exact lifestyle of an 18th century novelist.
Right.
The point is that the principles scale to your daily life. It provides a compass. Even if you are a mid-level manager dealing with 100 emails a day, you can apply this.
How so? Give me something practical.
Okay, to do fewer things, you stop volunteering for every optional committee just to look active. You establish communication protocols.
Like what?
Maybe you implement office hours for your team to ask quick questions face-to-face. That dramatically cuts down the asynchronous ping-pong of Slack messages.
Oh, that makes sense.
You actively shift from a mindset of proving your busyness to fiercely protecting the space required to do the work that actually moves the needle for your company.
Okay, and what about the second principle, working at a natural pace? In an office environment that expects 100% intensity all year round, how do you actually do that?
You apply it by zooming out. Human beings are just not designed to operate at peak intensity every single day.
Not machines.
Exactly. Look at McPhee. 2 weeks of nothing, followed by a year of intense writing. In a model context, working at a natural pace means embracing seasonality in your effort.
Seasonality, I like that word.
Yeah, so after a massive product launch or a brutal end-of-quarter push, you intentionally downshift.
You don't just jump into the next fire.
Right. You take a few weeks to focus on low-intensity administrative cleanup or maybe reading industry research. You allow your cognitive reserves to refill.
Which naturally leads into the third principle, obsess over quality. When you are doing fewer things at a natural pace, you suddenly have the bandwidth to make your output undeniably good.
That's the payoff. Zuiker spent 3 years making sure the CSI script was perfect. Newton took 20 years to ensure his physics were unassailable.
Because when you obsess over the quality of your work, the timeline becomes secondary.
Exactly. If you deliver a marketing strategy or a piece of code that is utterly brilliant and solves a massive problem for your boss, they are not going to care that it took you an extra 3 days to deliver it.
Or that you didn't respond to their email within 6 minutes.
Right. Quality is the ultimate defense against the demands of pseudo-productivity.
So let's take a step back and look at the journey we've been on. We started by exploring how our modern workday got infected by these flawed factory floor metrics, the 21-pound shovel applied to the human mind.
A total mismatch.
And we identified the exhausting trap of pseudo-productivity, where we are just answering emails constantly to prove we exist.
Just running on the broken treadmill.
Right. And we looked to the slow movement and historical creatives to see that there is a better, more traditional way to use our brains by doing fewer things, working at a natural pace, and obsessing over quality.
It's such a powerful shift in perspective.
So, what does this all mean for you? It means you don't have to choose between burning out and giving up. Human beings derive deep, fundamental satisfaction from doing good work. The goal of slow productivity isn't to kill your ambition.
Not at all.
It's to make your legacy sustainable. We remember the impact of the work, not the frantic busyness it took to get there.
You know, next time you feel that sudden, anxious urge to immediately reply to a digital message, just to prove to everyone that you are sitting at your desk, pause.
Just wait a second.
Ask yourself, are you acting like a factory worker, desperately trying to shovel 21 pounds of iron to appease a manager? Or are you acting like John McPhee, patiently allowing your brain the space it needs to synthesize the right idea?
That's a great question.
What bold, beautiful thing could you create if you finally gave yourself permission to just stare at the sky for a little while?
A perfect reminder that the best work sometimes looks an awful lot like doing nothing at all. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Take a deep breath, close out that inbox for a minute, slow down, and really enjoy the rest of your day.
We'll catch you next time.